Welcome to Round Glass. I'm Miriam Parker. And what a joy it is to be guiding you in today's session on activating your creativity. So in this session, we're going to talk a little bit about what it feels like to get that stuck energy unstuck, connecting to your creativity, and we'll meditate on that. What does that feel like? What does it look like to unstuck yourself, find the flow? So my question for you, and it's a question and a contemplation that I hope will support you in your meditation today. So what are you looking for? So creativity can be creativity in the kitchen, creativity at work. What are you looking for when you're looking to reveal and connect more with your creativity? And what does that feel like in your body? And so the other question I had adjacent to that, and I'll talk about that as my own personal share, my experience with it, is sometimes when we say creativity, the word itself can be a label that does not let us enter in, like, oh, I'm not that person, I'm not a creative person, I'm a person that does structure. And that label within itself, it enables us to have access to this quote unquote creativity. So I wanted to ask everybody, what is another word for creativity for you? And maybe that you do have access to. Maybe for me, creativity has a quality of flow. When I'm connected to my creativity and to that inspiration of what I was calling the creative muse, I have a feeling that I'm full and I'm full of resource. And so when I want to tackle problems, I have this access to this flow. It's not an empty bag, it's a full bag, right? So maybe the word creativity actually is flow for you. So get into those questions and it's going to support you in this. So um, my reason for these questions is the more that we can fine tune and create our own definition to what is it that we're really looking for and define that creativity with some other words, really getting to more of the root level of what it is that we want, right? So there are the things that we think this creativity will look like, but underneath it, what will it feel like? And my own practice of meditation really specifically pinpoints um, pinpoints that important action needed. So when I'm practicing meditation regularly, which I do, it helps me to build up the skill of listening and no longer reacting. And so that skill of listening allows me to have access to my creativity simply because, and this is what I really hope you all come home with after this meditation, is that creativity is not something that can be sold to you. Creativity is the nature of your being. Your body is creating things constantly anew. The creativity that you are looking for access to is with you and within you, right? So we just sometimes need to find a way to access it. How do we access it? So I'm hoping that this structure of meditation will give you a way. It's like building a very specific apparatus that is giving you access to something that's there, like they tap for maple syrup. We're going to tap for that creative flow. We're going to look for places inside of us where we're judging, getting rid of as much judgment as we can and placing in place of that judgment as much confidence as we can possibly cultivate that what we are looking for is already there. So the things that block us from creativity, right? We want to get rid of. We're going to exhale those out. And what we're going to inhale is this permission to feel. a practice of non-judgment, because the muse does not need to be created. She simply needs to be recognized. So hear that. I whisper to you right now, the creative muse, the sense of flow and abundance is actually within you. You just need to listen for it. It might take more than one session. Okay. So here we are, tapping in to our creativity, unlocking, unleashing our connection to resource of inspiration. All right, so let's start with that. What I am doing right now, this meditation, is a practice of stilling the mind. And that stillness of mind, it offers itself to a sense of flow. And that flow offers itself to a sensation of abundance, of resource. I'll say it again. We'll start with that. We're going to start with the mental posture of stilling the mind, unfurling the eyebrows, taking away the tensions, and creating as much expansiveness in the body, a feeling of openness, of flow. Because once we get open, we can flow, and that flowness, fluidity within us, contributes to a sensation of resource. Like a well that is always offering itself, always offering its nutrients to you. Fasten your mind to the sensation of opening up to a horizon that has no beginning or end. It is limitless. Just like the center of your body is limitless, there is always a center to the center. The first step of plugging in to the resource, which is another word of creativity, your capacity to create. Follows your capacity to remove the limited views. See if you can pinpoint the place in your ribs, lungs, your upper torso that your breath originates, as though the breath is coming from a point that your ribs expand front, back, right, and left from. And as you exhale, the ribs and the lungs collapse into that center. But that center is endless. That center has a center. And the center of that center has a center. A physical sense of expansion. Accompanies a practice of listening and letting go. So as you notice any sensation at all, whether it's a sound or a physical sensation, acknowledge it and then let it free. And notice when you let it go, another sensation arises. You recognize that and you let it go. And this rhythm brings you into the flow. You notice that there is always a sensation, and that sensation itself, that physical sensation itself, that auditory information is always changing. Subtle changes. Offering you a new way to hear, a new way to respond. And I want you to claim that as connecting to your creative muse. Play with the limitlessness of the breath in the center of the breath. Find the middle of your breath. And as you do that, you begin to acknowledge that the middle of the breath has another middle. And the sensation of breath begins to shift. And let the breath be a current that draws you closer into the sensation of that creativity which is yours, which is always been there. Moving you away from the judgment that you do not have access. Stay in the middle of the breath. Feel the middle of the breath is a sweet spot where there is no end. There's just the beginning. And with that sensation, recognize that there is unlimited space there. And the mind begins to mimic the physical sensation of expansion. Sometimes it actually feels like your mind was like a fist that begins to relax. That relaxation feels similar to the unfurling, the letting go of tension, of holding on to ideas of self, of judgment of self that keeps you stuck. So imagine the mind is like an upside down flower at the crown of your head. And on the inhale, sun comes and shines, drawing resource into the flower. And then on the exhale, the flower just keeps opening. And then walk your awareness down to the level of your throat. And imagine another tiny flower. On the inhale, sun. On the exhale, feel the flower at the throat opening up. Moving the awareness down to the heart. At the heart, there's another flower, and it's kind of tightly sticking to itself. On the inhale, draw light to the flower. On the exhale, feel the petals opening up, showing you its soft and tender spot. Bring the awareness down to behind the belly button. Another flower. On the inhale, draw light there. On the exhale, feel it opening up like this beautiful surrender. Bring the awareness to your pelvic floor. Another flower there that's rooted in the earth. On the inhale, draw in light. On the exhale, feel it opening up. On the next inhale, feel the breath massaging the petals of each flower, caressing them as it goes from the crown down to the floor of your pelvis, along the center. Each breath is moving each petal of each flower as it moves down to the root. And then on the inhale, invite the Muse. It is an image of a version of you that is abundant with that flow, with that resource of creativity in whatever manner that means for you. So what does it look like to be unlocked and have your imagination unleashed? And each of us have that. Each of us were children. Each of us played. The joy of doing things inside out. So part of the quality of the muse is play and silliness and non-judgmental behavior. Inhale, draw this feeling of the muse into your body. On the exhale, let go of your limited thoughts that you don't have it. Inhale, you have it, you got it. Moving all the petals along this central line of your body. Exhale, letting go of the doubt. Inhaling light to create a muse. Exhaling doubt. Inhaling the muse, the light. Watching the breath massage and play along the petals of each flower. Exhaling, letting go of there is a right way. Feel the breath curling around the body, connecting to flow. And the last thing, I want you to imagine what it would feel like if you were in your creative zone. Apply it to that area, anyone you like. Creative wardrobe, costuming. Being more creative in the way you approach your relationship. Your job. The way creativity looks to you. Maybe we need to unstuck your idea of being creative. One last time, recognize creativity is yours. And the challenge that we all must overcome when we are feeling stuck and having trouble with the access of a flow, that the battle is with our own judgment. And then dedicate your practice, dedicate your efforts today to unlocking the places that feel closed, inviting the muse to reclaim her flow. And with that, I invite you to slowly make your way back into the room around you. Just take stock and awareness of if anything's changed in your body. Maybe some of the ideas around what creativity feels like, the word creativity. And yeah, I invite you to play with this meditation. You know, there is something around, when I was thinking about how to offer this subject, which is something I work with so much. So I have so much to say around it. Really, the word play came to mind. Um, Looking at some of the rules and regulations we have around um, the structure we've created around that area that we're looking to induce creativity into. And the play of turning things inside out and not taking the first initial way that we experience as the totality of that experience or as the totality of the quality of that thing. That's exactly what meditation is for. Meditation creates this beautiful staging space where um, we get to turn things upside down and look at them from a different angle, right? And when we notice that, there is a sense of freedom that comes. Creativity is the creation of something new that fits your body, like a shell. When it gets too tight, we get awkward. We have to create a new way of interacting with work, a new way of interacting with our partners. Creativity in relationships is vital. So, yeah, I really invite you, use your meditation practice to be a way of responding to your need to connect to creativity, because it's a perfect space to do that. So one of the questions I got was, how can I bring the connection to creativity I felt during this meditation with me off of the mat? Well, I have just the answer for you. We're going to be doing exactly that in the next session on activating your creativity. Is really looking at ways of taking it off the cushion. But my quick and easy, my quick response is that taking it off the cushion is just understanding the mechanics of what happened, right? So what happened when you went into meditation today was we were looking for set ideas and judgments that keep us in a form of, this is who I am. This is the label. I am this. I am only able to do this. Taking those labels off and seeing what happens when we do that. And playing with the idea that I give you permission to do something unusual, to make a mistake. And that's the mechanics of what we do in the meditation. So that would be getting closer to that understanding, practicing that mind, using that mind when you're off the cushion. So if you're stuck at work, if you're feeling like you're in a rut, how can you approach your work differently? How can you find a new reason to be there? Sometimes we grow out of, as I said, our skin, and we have to shift the way that we connect to why and who I am in relationship to our work. The roles change in our relationships to our partners. We have to try to change with them. Thank you so much. Thank you for those beautiful questions. Thank you for sharing this sacred time together. And please continue to explore and go deep. Please continue to do your practice and check out our daily live sessions at round.glass or any of our other social media platforms. And you can always listen to this meditation again. So I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.